Hi, today I want to talk about being a high performer. And the reason I think this is so important is I hear people and catch myself doing it sometimes saying, if only I had more time in my day. And I got to thinking, I was talking to my son the other day, and we were talking about him and how he is a high performer. And he just got a new job. And, it's like, okay, if you do a really good job, with these people. And I said, I've never known you to be a lazy person. And we would start talking about it, and it got me to thinking, what is it that causes people to be high performers? Then I just started thinking about my family, and I'm thinking about all three of my kids. They're all high performers. Well, why is it? Well, partly I think it's genetic, because when you're born, there's certain genetic transfer of information. And I think that's a trend in my family, my extended family and everything, just a bunch of high performers. But then I started thinking, but anybody can be a high performer if they choose to be. But you have to have a couple things going in your way. So one of the things you need is a goal that really excites you. It's got to be something that you really want, not something that you think you can get or maybe it will happen, but something you really want. So that starts it. You have to have, something that's bigger than you. And then you also have to have the self-image, because your self-image, you can't work hard enough on your self-image. So you have to make sure that your image is one where you see yourself achieving this goal. And so you have to use that. And then I think you need the knowledge of Wallace D. Wattles in his book, The Science of Getting Rich, which talks about doing things and thinking in a certain way, because mindset is about everything. Everything you do comes back to your mindset. If you believe you can do something, that sets you one rung up higher than most people. If you don't believe you can do it, you won't. Henry Ford said that, didn't he? That if you think you can and you think you can't, you're right. So why don't we start thinking we can? Why don't we start looking at the possibilities of what would happen if it was possible? Just think of the possibility. But when we look at Wallace D. Wattles, what he's talking about is thinking in a certain way. Well, what is that certain way of thinking? Well, let's get into his book. He says, when you try to impress your wants upon the subconscious, you see, it all goes back to your subconscious mind. You have to get that idea into the subconscious. Why? Because the subconscious controls your actions, not your conscious mind. It's your subconscious. So you have to get it embedded into the subconscious. He says, remember that it must be done by a coherent statement. You must know what you want and be definite. It can't be vague. He says, you can never get rich or start the creative process. Never get rich or start the creative power into action by sending an unformed language and vague desires. So you have to know exactly what you want. Be crystal clear. That's why when you build an image and you set a goal, you've got to get emotionally involved in it. Because when you get emotionally involved, the subconscious is that emotional part of you. So you have to get your subconscious emotionally involved so that you actually go into action. So you have to set that goal, and it can't be just a random desire. You've got to be definite. If it's a certain amount of money, a definite amount of money. If it is, a certain job, definite job. Okay. And then he says, the clear mental picture you must have continually in your mind, not once a month or once a week or whenever you possibly think about it, continually in your mind. Every time your mind strays to something else, bring it back to that goal and that picture of what you want. Keep your face forward towards it at all times. Okay. Then he says, all you need to know is what you want, and to want it badly enough so that it will stay in your thoughts. You have to want it badly enough to stay in your thoughts. That's why it can't be something vague. It's got to be something that you actually want in your life. So you need to make sure that it is there continuously. And then he says, he does this quote from the Bible. He says, whatsoever things we ask for when we pray, believe that you'll receive them and you shall have them. So you have to believe. You have to believe in the possibility. It can't be a mere wish or hope. You've got to have belief. And then a little bit later, he talks about acting in a certain way. So what do you have to do to act in a certain way? Well, to act in a certain way, he says this: do not give your creative impulse to the original substance and then sit down and wait for the results. So you can't just think about it and just, okay, I'm waiting here. When's it going to happen? No, you must act where you are with what you already have. So if it's a new job you want, you must act in the job that you have and throw as much action into it as you would if you had the job you really wanted. If you're going after a set amount of money, you must act as though you already have that set amount of money. And what would your thoughts be? Now, don't go out and spend the money, okay? But what would your thoughts be if you already had that money? How would you look at a situation? If money was no object in the decision making, how would you look at it? So do not give to your creative impulse to the original substance and then sit down and wait for those to happen. Act now. There is never any time but now. And there never will be any time but now. If you are ever to begin to make ready for the reception of what you want, you must begin now. So when do you do it? Yes, now. And a little bit later in this chapter, he says, hold the vision of yourself in the right business with the purpose to get into it and the faith that you will get into it and are getting into it, but act in your present business. Use your present business as a means of getting a better one, and use your present environment as a means of getting a better one. Your vision of the right business, if held in with faith and purpose, will cause the supreme to move the right business towards you. And your action, if performed in a certain way, will cause you to move towards a business. So what does this have to do with getting more time in your day? Well, here's the thing. When you get excited about a goal and it is so embedded in your mind and you know you have to take actions, you take actions from a place of inspiration, and you can accomplish more in a short amount of time than most people can. So if you have maybe 4 hours to get done what would take most people an entire day, or maybe a day and a half or 2 days, you can get it done. Why? Because you're so inspired and you're shaving off time because of that excitement. And that's how you can get more hours in your day. I know this happens to me. Days where it would have taken me an entire day, maybe 2 days to do something, I can get done in half a day now because I'm taking actions with inspiration. So if you want to save time in your day, that's what you need to do. You need to get that idea, that goal so embedded in your mind that it is constantly there and you're always thinking about it and you're looking for ways to improve yourself, improve your efficiency, and be at a higher performance level than most people ever get to. And anybody can do it. It just takes having the right goal and having, if you're in a team, having the entire team buying into it. This is why it's so important that if you're on a team of people and you have a goal, maybe for the corporation, maybe for your particular division of your business, you must all get together and buy into that goal and build a team that works and has trust in each other and has all the pillars of a good team to move forward. Hope that helps. By the way, I said I'm going to be doing an interactive workshop later in February and love to have you there. Love to have your comments. Love to have your opinions. Love to have your outlook, because we all take things from different perspectives. Love to hear your ideas. And let's talk about how we can become high performers and get our teams to be high performance and what that takes. Talk to you soon.